So, people have been asking me for a guide for my slight adjustment to the popular best in slot build for crossbow daggers. So, um, yeah, just briefly, I'll go into my skill menu. Um, the main difference is that instead of running Selfless Diffusion, which I still have leveled up specifically for Shy Call, the boss fight in Cursed Wasteland, since you can't Shadow Strike him, which is the move that I am using instead to maintain uptime. Another adjustment that I made is that I use the crossbows for auto attacking, right? So this changes the build quite a bit, uh, in my opinion, because of what you have to focus on. Instead of having an extended burst window from Selfless Diffusion, your burst window at the beginning of a during your opener at the beginning of a boss fight is shortened down to pretty much like a single thundercloud bombing instead of two. But if you're stacking all of your buttons, which you should be doing for the 20 stacks, it's negligible with the amount of cooldown speed I have. You're waiting roughly 2 or 3 seconds longer to get that second thundercloud bombing out. And if you're going fast enough, you can already be stacking thundercloud, um, for thundercloud stacks for the next burst window on your next lightning infusion. So I'll go into my weapon mastery real quick. I chose different weapon masteries, I'm pretty sure. I also chose what oh yeah, I chose Eagle Vision, I mean, instead of Destructive Fang, because I do like to stay at max distance, and the extra hit and weaken chance only helps. I imagine there will be more use for hit chance later down the road in this game with how they designed the stat. So weapon mastery trees real quick. I haven't finished one yet on my character, but I went Assassination for daggers, specifically for the cooldown speed, the base damage, and the crit damage. Yeah, and the attack speed, because the attack speed is very huge. I'll show you go to my character screen, um, how much attack speed I have. And I went chain fire for crossbows because I really want the range damage dealt. It also has cooldown speed, base damage, uh, more offhand activation rate, which is just extra DPS. Um, but yeah, and my skill specializations, I went with pretty much everything that added Thundercloud stacks, so that I could start my stacking in different orders based on situations. It just increases the versatility of the build. Um, I took the obvious choices like the CDR on Thunderclouds for 20 stacks, cooldown reduction on knife throwing. I'm not too sure about the AoE damage on Fatal Stigma. Um, this one might actually be better. The cooldown reset, and then it frees up 2 more points to adjust your build a little bit. But I'm using the AoE damage right now because it occasionally sorts out where I have a good tank that knows how to stack things up, and I can actually do a lot of damage with it. And the less points invested in crossbow, I have Gale on Quickfire 2 for a little bit of AoE. Like I said, with a good tank, it actually pays off, and the CDR on crit because I have a high crit build. 2 charges of Nimble Leap, the Quickfire cooldown reset, and the CC break because, like I said, it's one of those things that I think will pay off in PvE because of the way bosses are designed. Um, I chose this one kind of on a whim. I think this is where my last 5 points went, was this Mortal Mark Transference uh, specialization. Uh, and yeah, Lightning Arrow. So that's the skills. Let's go into my gear real quick. Yeah, the guide is almost over already. It's super simple. So I have my character at the 60 dex cap, which is definitely where you want to be. If you look at my stats, I have almost 1,000 crit chance. So I have low strength. This build, I'm sure, works similarly if you balance into strength instead of perception, and then wear hit gear, because you don't need all of the, or you could probably trait hit too, actually. But yeah, you get you get the hit elsewhere, and you have the defense that you get from this build, um, from the strength. So I want perception. My perception's at 46 because I have a lot of perception on my gear. I have the crossbows of infinite steel. I have yeah, class with conquer, bracer. A lot of perception. Perception everywhere. Perception on all of my gear, pretty much. Um, I know my weapons probably aren't optimal. I think the crossbows honestly might be. They might be, maybe, specifically because of the insane amount of cooldown speed they have on them. The 6.5%, that'll probably be around 7 when I get it to level 9. I know that these um, aren't probably optimal. The Rex Chimeras Fangs, though, they give a lot of dexterity. The Wildling bonus damage to me just feels like a wasted stat, and I also have the weakened chance on them that I'd probably want to convert to another trait. Um, I have a couple odd pieces in my gear set right now that you wouldn't want to copy. These Evan Roar Sabatons and this Abyssal Grace Band. These are kind of filler pieces right now. Violent Signet is great to stick with if you don't have the resources or the time to farm out the salvation tokens to get the 2-piece set bonus from the rings that are best in slot for this build. But yeah, you can build pretty much any good set out of mixing and matching the various best in slot lists that they have on the internet currently. So, as you can see, there's plenty of room for this character to grow. I'm not anywhere near the gear cap yet. I've got plenty more time to invest into this character, but so I got my gear to a state finally where I can give you an idea of how the build works. Like, for example, you can probably get rid of this Justicar mask and get a better helmet. Um, Supreme Devotion is something you want to have for the cooldown speed. The Guardian Gloves for the mana cost efficiency. Um, Bonus damage is insanely good. That's why you have these Phantom Wolf pieces for the 2 set bonus of the 18 bonus damage, and then the 11 bonus damage on the Bracer of Primal King. Uh, yeah, yeah. So you can look at my stats real quick. Um, yeah, it's a pretty potent build. Um, my Thundercloud bombings do about 10,000 damage combined both hits. Um, and yeah, so yeah, pause it where you need to if you're interested in looking at it. As you can see, my attack speed is crazy. It's 2.97 seconds. So yeah, this is the build. Uh, just as a quick recap from one of my posts that I made on one of my videos, since a lot of people won't see it. The rationale behind using crossbows and Shadow Strike instead of main handing daggers and using Selfless Diffusion is that Selfless Diffusion and Mortal Mark need to be used together. So your Selfless Diffusion can't even be used on cooldown because the cooldowns are misaligned. Your Mortal Mark isn't up when Selfless Diffusion is up, right? And you can occasionally get it the full cooldown reduction off of a weak point shot that's timed properly. But this is all hypothetical stuff. So that coupled with the fact that um, when uh, when you have daggers on, you only are auto attacking when you're on top of the boss, and all these bosses have a lot of mechanics. You end up losing a lot of uptime, and yes, you do the most overall damage in single target, but does it do the most overall DPS in mechanics settings and boss settings? And I'm sure there are AoE builds that you can figure out that build off of this same concept too. So, yeah, I hope this was a helpful build for people who are interested and who have been watching my stuff. I know this game has been pretty popular on my channel for a new game, that probably a lot of people weren't expecting. I hadn't heard about this game myself, and just to show some support for the company, that I have no affiliation with them, but I've known about them since Lineage 2, and this game honestly just feels like Lineage 3 to me. I'm really enjoying it. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the guide. Drop a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want, and that's it.